United States CPS makes upwards of $3 billion per day on trafficking and selling our children. The corruption may start with the caseworker, but goes through the judicial system, passing the governor through the Senate and into the White House. The entire system has a hand in the business known as CPS.
Our children are stolen every minute of a 24-hour day. They are being robbed of their innocence, their trust, their happiness. As parents, we are isolated and betrayed by a government we trust. States are balancing budgets on kids' lives. Only 12% of the kids taken will be reunified. Title IV funding is being riveted with fraud.
Everybody, welcome to Thursday night, April 25th. This is CPS Victims Hunting Justice. I am your host, CPS Punisher, and boy, oh boy, oh boy. I don't know if you guys caught last night's episode. If you didn't, I suggest that you check that out. The past two nights, actually, we've had quite a bit of information that we've been passing on, and I think that it would be very beneficial to you guys to check these things out. Check out the groups that are trying to assist us in our fight against CPS and seeking and hunting and receiving justice. Again, if you guys will like and subscribe, that would really help us out on the YouTube channels. Be sure to be interactive in the chats with us as we want to answer your questions that you have. And if you guys have stories, whatever you guys got to, you need to get off your chest, please use that chat to interact with us. We appreciate it. There is a spot that you can help fund the show right up here on the corner, right here. This little fella right there. You click this little QR code. If you can help support our stream, that would be very beneficial to us, as keeping things going around here aren't exactly the cheapest things, and we want to keep spreading the word. So subscribe, like, if you guys don't have money to put on this, if you do some of this, any little bit helps us. Check out abolishcps.com. That's the website. But for that, let's rip this one out. We got Melissa and Brenda with us tonight. Let's get Melissa out here. Melissa, Brenda, how we doing, ladies? Whoop. Brenda.
Good. How are you tonight?
I'm doing. Well, we've had a couple interesting couple of days here, talking about these groups that are, out here to help us out. A lot of resources that have been going on. Tiffany's got a lot going on for her over at her end of things, as an advocate and so on. It's just been a couple of days of information. I see the P. Diddy thing has been, I don't know if that's slowing down or if it's ramping up to be talked about. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it seems like it's slowing down, right? Like you're not hearing much about it anymore.
Well, right, I think they're still doing more on it. I think they've just moved the spotlight elsewhere so that they can get around the fact that they're not going after him the way they should.
Well, I mean, they gotta make sure that they get all their friends out of harm's way here. The ones that they're gonna. Because let's be honest here, Hollywood doesn't go out and pluck these kids out, right? Like Hollywood isn't the real invasive intruder. Hollywood's not the one that has access to the kids from the gates, right? It's CPS. CPS is getting in their kids and rolling them into the Hollywood limelight. Herbert had found a lot of information on these childhood stars, and how many of them are in foster homes that have been out, been brought into the Hollywood way of life. and a lot of these young actors and actresses were involved in the foster care realm. And I wonder, why don't these guys talk about it? Why aren't these guys coming out and saying either how amazing CPS was, or the foster care system, and how important they were in giving them their Hollywood careers, or how not important that these people were in their lives? Like, what's your thoughts on any of that? Like, why are these people? Why don't we have a face to this movement? I guess there's the question. Why do not have one solid leader that's up there putting their face on the line, saying, "Look, I'm the mugshot that's going to represent all of these families that have had their children and their families stolen. Where is our person to come out and say it's me? I'm trying. I'll make it me, but no one knows me. I can't get more than 4 viewers, on one of these evenings on a show."
That's what I'm saying. It's almost like we have to get out of YouTube, because YouTube is so controlled. It's the only
but it's not shared just on YouTube.
Right, we have many other places, right? But still, where is the face? Where is one of these Hollywood people to come out and help us?
Okay,
well, that's just it. They sabotage the whole thing. I mean, they don't want a face. Okay, and as far as it goes with the Hollywood people that's been in the system that are now rich and famous, hell, they were upper crust to begin with. So when they went in the system, they got, the hotel suite and the fucking, the parties and the nice shit, because they were already the upper echelon or claimed by the upper level,
Or were they paid? Have they already been paid?
Oh yeah, no, you already know that. One of the ones that they talk about being in on kind of the inside lane is Beyonce. It was P. Diddy. Mm-hmm. It was J-Ro.
That one actor, can't think of it. He's got a different name. I can't think of it.
The Rock. It was The Rock. It was Whoopi Goldberg. It was J-Lo. It was Beyonce. It was P. Diddy. Those are some of the main ones that are known for their attachment to that original, that Child Island thing.
Oh, over with Epstein.
Yeah.
Over Little St. John, yeah. And again, here it is. Hollywood isn't bringing those children out to that island. That island is attached to politicians. Politicians are the ones who are allowing. So the captain stuff is up, right? So the CPS isn't even being funded legally by our, us as citizens of the United States. Their money from the captain is gone. So they're just writing checks. They're just writing checks now. That's illegal.
Well, and that's what I can say, though. And we have to look at the fact that FBI and Department of Justice are leaders in the Department of Justice, and the FBI are part of the trafficking. So they, of course, they know about the trafficking, and they were supposed to handle things like trafficking or kidnapping, but they don't handle this. In fact, if you try to get some resolve by calling it down there to the FBI, they will block your number. If you even say your name, they'll cut your call off, saying you have been advised not to call because I'm a repeat caller or something like that. I can't remember the exact words.
Now, the FBI made a report on my judge and sent it to the state attorney general, and the state attorney general sent it over to the court system. The problem is the judicial system won't review it.
Well, and if we can get into it, though, because in my case, okay, so you have the Department of Justice, right? And initially, I can tell you what happened when we first started noticing, like, we were being targeted. I don't know what you want to call it. We were on what they would say the list
Ah,
They
there
have
you go.
2 copies of the actual list, and it's called the Fusion Exchange Bulletin. It comes out of these Fusion Exchange centers, so it's law enforcement that passes on information about you, your family, everything that's going on with you, even if you've never committed a crime in your life. So, when we, my husband likes to make films, okay? He like, ever since he was a kid, they ran around, what do they call them, 35 millimeter,
Oh, Brenda, you're getting underwater.
monster stuff, claymation. I mean, he was doing it since he was a kid. His dad was an actor, did all these plays, was in Shawshank Redemption. I'll tell you, if you want to know the part, I'll let you know. Funny, Chris is sitting there in jail, and they came on the television. You know how there's usually nothing to watch when you're in jail. Well, that movie happened to come on, so that was cool. But don't get me started, because you guys got to interrupt me sometimes, because I'll go about yada yada yada, whatever you say. But, when we were
Well,
attacked on the
my friend Jill just messaged me and she says, what about the fact that they're now using children to make this new andochrome?
Oh, the oh Jesus Almighty! The adrenochrome.
Yeah.
The adrenochrome, where they scare the kids so much and then they take it out of their. That's the disgusting thing, and that's what these elites are doing. Because it gives them Joe Biden, one of them, and they get these kids, they scare them so that the adrenaline releases into their system, and then they drain the blood through their feet in that system. Then they insert, they drink the blood, they do whatever they do with this blood, and it revives these. It revives. It's like youth. It's like the fountain of youth. I guess it's like blood with crack in it. I guess it was the only way you can explain it.
Well, I mean, it's an adrenaline rush.
Right. So they're getting that stuff, and that's all real things that they're telling you that they're doing in this, with these kids, and people are still just turning their heads to this. Like how much more is it going to take?
Exactly. And what kind of person would turn their head away from something like that?
People who learn in our everyday school to be subservient to the government.
Yeah.
It's like a cult. It's like a cult, really.
I mean, it's Germany did the same thing. They were repressed in a way that they fell into line. They knew their place. They never questioned what went on around them. And our country ain't far behind that. We put kids in school to teach them to get up at a certain time, to go to work at a certain time, to do exactly what they're told. And the thing is, what do we actually teach kids in school anymore about actual history? We don't teach the Civil War. We don't teach the Revolution. We don't teach the things that made America great.
No,
like in school, I remember having to write a paper about Amelia Earhart and her final flight. I remember having to do an essay on the Tuskegee Airmen. Okay? I live less than an hour from the Tuskegee Airmen. Tuskegee, Alabama is just right down the street. And at mile marker, I think it's like 219, 218. Our Brotherhood of the Confederate flies a huge Confederate flag right over I-65.
Wow.
Good for them.
And and you know what? You come to this state and you say, oh, you're racist or you're this or you're that because you're flying a Confederate flag. The black people in this state fought for that flag, and they'd still to this day die for that flag.
Hey, y'all. If I get a chance, I want to share something with you. Could I share something with you right now? Now look
Yeah,
behind.
Sure.
Look at this. Look at my wall. Okay,
Yeah.
this wall needs to be fixed. I'm kind of renovating. Remodeling my house, whatever. This is an area that needs to be worked on. But when I find I'm going through my paperwork and such, and I get to a point where things are falling out of a folder, or something spilled, like something going on with me and spilled coffee, but like, okay, something spilled. It's almost like the Lord's trying to get my attention and say, hey, this is what you need to be thinking about. And if you notice, okay, I'm going to put this up here so y'all can see. This drawing on top is what I drew when I was in Charlotte County Jail after trying to rescue my daughter from deplorable conditions in a foster placement right in Punta Gorda. I have all these pictures of these deplorable conditions. I have my daughter's statement, which I definitely would want to share with y'all in the show. In fact, I don't know why I haven't shared it so far yet with you. Because it's really just like, you might as well, if you want to be sad, you can go ahead and watch it. And I know there's a lot of people out there, they don't want to see this sad stuff. And that's why we're not getting it. Because they want, it's just sad to them. But this drawing, to me, I was thrown into medical for like 2.5 months because I was just couldn't really understand why I'm being thrown in prison after finding my daughter and her begging me to get her out of that situation. There's nothing that I did was anything near kidnapping, because it seems like Charlotte County as well as Pittsburgh County does not understand the definition of kidnapping.
So you hold on. So Brenda, you went after your kid because it was the conditions that they had put your kids in were treacherous, right?
Correct. And my daughter has autism and delays, and it was supposed to be a placement where she was going to get cared for her needs. Like this was supposed to be some kind of a therapeutic placement. It was nothing of the sort. I can tell you that right now. And
so you found out about this, and then what? Did you address them first?
Well, what happened is, what went down was this lady, she's a Haitian lady. Her first name is Esther. And she has 2 other children. One of them is an adopted children. Besides she had my daughter. Now, this was back in 2019 when this all happened, because my rights were terminated at the beginning of 2018, in January, in fact. And then this was after that. I had already moved to Louisiana, and then I was invited by her exclusively to come down and visit Sage on Mother's Day, or right around Mother's Day. It was like that weekend. And she's like, don't let the department know. She was quite hard to understand, actually. She had this accent that you really couldn't make out everything she says, which gets to, my daughter's video. And even if you went to my YouTube, guys, you would be able to see that. I have it posted on my Facebook and whatever. But
what is your Facebook, Brenda?
Just my name, Brenda Cambron.
You have your story up there? You have your story up there?
Not so much. I'm really like new at all this stuff. Ever since I got out of prison, I got out in 2021 because they sentenced me to almost 2 years. So let's go
back to that. So you let them know about the conditions, and then what? Then you went and got your daughter, or how did this go?
Well, no, what happened is when I got to the home, the lady wasn't there. And my daughter came to the door. And it's very strange because she works very strange hours and such, where she's actually, there's no supervision. There was really no supervision over the children in the nighttime, because the one delayed child and then her own daughter that was the same age as my daughter. So at this time when all this was happening, Sage was like, how old was she then? She was like 14 when all that was going on. And so yeah, it's really, really a long story. So if y'all want to talk about something else, that's okay.
No, I would kind of like to hear like just the basis. So you went there, she wasn't there. What's your next
And my
step?
daughter was, okay. And
Right.
so that's why I had access to the house and to see what exactly was going on. What I ended up doing, after I spent some time with her, and she's like, Mom, you know, she's autistic. And this is why I think they separated her from her brother, which at that time they had him in Lake City, which so that's like a 6.5 hour away from each other kind of thing. So, you know, they're supposed to be seeing each other as well. And if I would have never done this and rescue her and end up in prison, I would never got these discoveries where I finally found out, okay, well, I'm jumping ahead. So
Yeah, I just kind of want to hear. I want to hear about like the actual kidnapping or the kidnapping part here.
I tried to go back. I went back in the evening, okay, and whoever was sleeping, whatever. I can tell you, I just went in there and I woke up Sage, and I'm like, let's go, because she already had told me, Mom, I got my bags packed. I'm ready to go. I was wondering where you were. You know, she's like, come on, I want to go. I want to go see Hawk. I want to go see Dad. You know, I want to be back home. So my thought in my head was, okay, my son, who's a doctor in Louisiana, is already approved and certified to adopt his siblings through the ICPC, like they were talking about the other day with the ICPC. Yes, we were part of an ICPC where he was approved. He did the homestead. He went through classes. There was all a whole big deal that he had completed. This was after our rights were terminated, though. And apparently there had been another thing.
Damn it.
And I was in Charlotte County on April.
We're garbling again, Brenda. It's doing the garble thing.
Okay, all right. So what happened is that me and Sage took off, okay? And at first, they thought that they found her missing, okay? So what happened is that it's kind of hard to move.
It's doing it again.
So we had like whole adventure for 2 days. I can tell you this, and that's when I got the recording I'm referring to. We had 2 beautiful days together. So during this time, I had contacted, because there was a text coming through my phone from Charlotte County law enforcement. Her name is it doesn't matter.
So Brenda, hold up. Right now, your sound is perfect. So I don't know what goes on every couple of seconds or whatever, but it gets to like this garbly thing. So whatever you just did to make your sound perfect, however you moved, you reached for the gods, you did whatever you did, it's perfect, just like that.
I think she's covering her microphone.
Is that what it is? You have earbuds in?
I was holding on to my phone because it's low on charge, and I got it plugged in, so I was just
yeah, no, it goes to this garbling thing. Okay, so we're all right, back at it while it's still sounding good.
Okay, so yes, this lady, she had tried to call me. Well, I had kind of an old school phone. It was able to text, and it was like, I think it was an Obama phone or something like that. And it was like a flip phone. I was able to text and call. That's about it. Okay, and take pictures. In fact, that's where I got the pictures of the deplorable conditions of the house. So, and the tape that I made of my daughter was actually on her leap pad, because it's something I brought with me. Because this little leap pad, it tapes really good. And so I made sure when okay, I'm getting ahead of myself again. So me and my daughter have this wonderful thing, I must say. But she was like, Brenda, please contact me, the law enforcement lady. She's like, I'm not the enemy here. And I didn't know why she would use those words, because that was really had impacted me in a bad way. Because one day my daughter had come into a visit, and she said, and she was talking about on Facebook, this Maryland Phyllis Paget. She said, Miss Maryland said, "Dad is the enemy," and yeah, and so throughout her case, we did notice too that you know my husband's like, "Why can't I get my business back?" And why can't I get my business back?
Losing you, Brenda.
Losing the garble
Okay.
again.
Okay. My husband was like saying to this guy, okay, there's this guy, Jason Katz. He was supervisor for the partnership for destroying families. Oh, I mean, for strong families, they call it. And he told my husband over the phone, the reason he can't get his visits back with the kids because his continued anti-government behavior. You believe this?
Yes, I do. I do believe it very much.
Okay.
Yeah, Darren's a victim
Now-
of the same arguments.
Yeah, they did this to me.
Finally, what happened with this particular officer, because I had spoke with her over the phone, and I said, I found Sage in deplorable conditions. She's reporting to me abuse. She also reported abuse by this Jason Katz from the Partnership for Strong Families, as well as reported abuse of the son of the foster placements. And so here I am with this information wondering, okay, we already know that me and my husband have been targeted because we got 2 copies of 2 bulletins that say completely false information that we're anti-law enforcement and anti-government, and that couldn't be further from the truth. We never even
Right.
had a criminal record before moving to Dixie County. But
Yeah, I'm well aware of that.
yeah, and then she has the gall to say to me that I tried to mislead her when I told her that my daughter was being abused in these deplorable conditions.
So what happens now? So you have your daughter, you've got her, everybody's looking for her. You obviously have her.
Mhm.
Where do we
Yeah,
go?
they
What
thought
happens
she
next?
was a runaway at first. They thought she was
Okay.
a runaway because other kids had ran away from this home.
Yeah.
And so come to find out that yeah, it just
I would have said
yeah.
she was a runaway and that she just showed up on my doorstep.
Right.
Well, and then what happened was they tried to let me see. Okay, I lost my train of thought. Sorry, guys.
It's all right. So you've got the child. You've got
Yeah.
Sage. The cops,
So
everybody's
we're
looking
heading.
for her.
My thought is we're
Everybody's
headed
looking
to
for her. What
Louisiana.
happens now?
Okay, so I'm kind of doing the side road thing. One night, I can tell you, I really never told anybody about this adventure in detail, but I had some, supplies with me. But the thing is how they figured out it was me, because of this Honda I was driving has a spoiler on the back of it. So
Oh, Jesus.
when the whole countryside is looking for me and Sage busting out of abusive foster placement, I've got a car, a Honda. It's a 2005 that has this spoiler on the back. And I said, I thought about it later when I'm sitting in jail. I'm like, that sure was a spoiler. But
Yeah.
but it ended up, what I did, we had to go when we were in Port Charlotte, and we had to go through one of those pay tolls or whatever it was. So initially they were looking to this pay toll place and asked the guy if they had seen this car going through. And at first, it was like really early in the morning, because when I got Sage, and I tell you, there's something going on that she, when I looked at my discovery, she was always waking up at 3 a.m., and that's the time I saved her, actually. Yeah, so then at first glance, I guess, they didn't see the vehicle. And then they found it later in the day. So that gave us some traction there. We made it, let me see. We made it to, well, what was it? Alabama? Was it Alabama? I can't even remember now. How does it go? Because I'm just, I'm just taking side roads. I ended up in going to a church, or somebody actually referred me to a church. I went to somebody's house. I told them, this is what's up. My daughter was being abused. I need help. Because I did, and I'm like, I can't really go to law enforcement. I just like, they wouldn't understand. And then,
Do they have an Amber Alert out at this point?
well, that's the funny part about this story is they did not put an Amber alert out when they figured out she was with me because she wasn't in any danger. They didn't believe she was in any danger being with me. Can you believe this?
Right.
Well, they know the kids aren't in danger being with us, but they still got to put up a front.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're traipsing around. You get to some state. You're not sure, Alabama or whatever. What's next? What happens?
Okay. So, me and Sage, like we took this side road and we found this house. It looked like they had been like recently remodeling it or something like that. And I'm like, in my head, I'm trying to get her somewhere safe, right? This guy down the road said, sorry, but he told me about a church, can't help you, whatever. So we moved on from there. And I'm like thinking in my head, the gate is open on this, the driveway. Looks like probably nobody, is living here. But then me and Sage are like, okay, well, should we close the gate on the driveway? And that was our downfall because a neighbor noticed that gate was closed, and then we just actually walked into the house. We had just gotten in there and we're like, what's up, this is really cool. It was air conditioned. It was beautiful actually. And then as soon as we got in there, the neighbor came by and asked us what we were doing. Kind of told him this whole situation. He's like, sorry, but I don't think the people that own this would appreciate this. Nothing I can really do. And so then I went to this church everybody was saying to go to, but it was closed down. Nobody was there. And so we hung out there for a while. And then I ended up finding this one, mobile, what is it? A mobile home, whatever. It's kind of like what they would use when they're picking blueberries or whatever. I remember in Maine, it was like they used to have places like this where they're picking blueberries, but it did look like they were picking something. I'm not sure what it was because they had a bunch of stacks of crates inside the trailer. So for one night we hung out here. I had like picnic food or whatever that we had, I had brought with us. So we had some food to eat, and, I had all the supplies we needed to camp out, whatever. And there wasn't any I don't know, maybe there was electricity. I remember we were charging up the phone there and such. And but the thing was, I wanted to keep taking the battery out of this phone because I knew they might be tracking me. And what ended up happening, and then the following day, so it's almost like we were doing a lot of traveling in the nighttime. But we got to a point, and I'm telling you, I happened to have an extra plate to put on the vehicle, so I wouldn't, that wouldn't compromise me, to put this other plate on. And they didn't even put any charges on for that. Well, whatever. Nice. But for that situation, kind of like the mastermind over here trying to save my daughter, But what my dismay is I should have went to New Hampshire is where I should have went, because we used to have a house there in the mountains. But they expected that I would go in that direction. I mean, my son was approved for, taking custody of Sage and Chris. But so that was my thought, is that this would all come out in the open, that my daughter's being abused and this is the situation. But they ended up adopting my kids out on April 1st, April Fool's joke on me, 2020, when I'm locked up, and then they didn't even notify my son or our family at all that this had took place. So I didn't find out about.
Wait, let's go back though. So you go to the church. that nobody's at. You hang out there. Where do you go from that point? What happens next?
Okay, so I wanted to get, you know, a motel, but then again, I had to think about the fact is that if they run, you know, my license, you know, and then that's how they could track me. But I remember getting some ideas from somebody that, you know, wanted also to rescue my daughter. The idea is that go get a room at a really fancy motel or hotel, whatever, and they won't be looking there. And so that's what I did. We spent a night, and I think it was, what is that state? John Denver sings about it. What is that state?
Rocky Mountain Highway.
Not Colorado.
To the place.
No, it's like
West Virginia. West Virginia.
No, whatsoever in between Florida and Louisiana. I can't remember. It starts with an A. But so maybe it is Alabama.
Oh, it's not Alaska. We know that.
Well, okay. So then me and Sage, we had a great room. We had went swimming. I got her a swimsuit. We went and got her some little toys and stuff at Walmart. I mean, and so yeah, and we had the breakfast there. I mean, we were living it up there. And once we left there, though, and well, I had my battery out of my phone all this time, you know, and all this, and I put my battery back in my phone the following morning after we had this wonderful night together. In fact, we were watching, what was on that? That's when the no, I can't remember the name of that show, but anyway, she always liked to watch that show, whatever it was. And so, okay, then we headed towards Mississippi, okay? So
we're getting the garble back again.
We're gonna be. I'm sorry.
There you go. Now you sound better. Whatever when you get further away or something, it starts to go blah 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 blah.
All right.
So
sorry, guys.
No worries. So now you're going towards Mississippi.
Yeah, but let me tell you, that morning before we left that motel or that area of the motel, we still we had ice in our bucket, and we had you know, we had took a little snack from the breakfast buffet, so we were able to take some with us. But the reason I'll bring that up later is because when I went into my discoveries, they said when cops actually went and finally did check that motel, because when I put my battery in my phone to call my Christian friend up in Florida, that's when they tracked it pinged right where I was. So come to find out that just probably moments after we took up out of there, they didn't alert the clerk in the front desk. They said, do you want me to check if she's still there or if she's checked out? Because, you know, when I leave a motel, I don't check out. I just leave, you know, whatever. And so they said, well, no, don't check. We're going to bring some officers up there to check. So when they got there, they still seen that there was ice in the bucket, you know, the ice bucket. So they knew that we were there shortly before that. So when we were going down the highway, I swear to you, because I'm like, the idea is I was going to either put a hat on my daughter or cut her hair or whatever to make her look like a boy was my idea. But didn't have a chance to even do anything like that. And I actually asked her, I said, lay back in the chair, honey, want to try to take a walk or whatever. And during this time, I see 2 cops coming up on my left side and checking us out. And of course, I had that different plate on the car. So even though they were checking us out, we were able to slide through at that moment. But my heart was racing. My heart was racing. And so she had just laid back and things all with one person in the car.
Garbling up again.
Okay, so then the next thing is that when we got to Mississippi, it was evening by that time. So we decided we're just spend the night sleeping in the car, and we were outside of like this it's like a Quality Inn or something like that, and there was a McDonald's right over there. We had actually went there, and we went to go pee or something like that. And then when we woke up that morning, the next morning from sleeping in the car, we had a plan that we were going to go get some breakfast over at the motel. But before we did that, we're like, maybe we'll go to McDonald's and we'll use the restroom today. And we did that. And I decided
You're garbling up again.
a very stupid decision that I made was to put my laptop inside McDonald's, and I was going to put a show for my daughter on because she liked to watch that Gotham show. Remember the series about Batman or whatever when he was young? My daughter loved this show. So by doing that, it came up on the radar because I'll tell you, they have an IP address or whatever the hell they took. These are the same computers that the Florida Department of Law Enforcement stole out of my house for like 8 months while they went through everything. So this is a laptop that I have with
So they had access to your information.
Yeah. By logging in on that computer, that's how they knew where I was. And I'll tell you exactly how we went down there. This was in Mississippi. And this is why I tell you I have this problem with spilled coffee, that I know something's going to happen when coffee spills. I had my little bag for my laptop. It has peace signs all over it, and it's a nice bag. I got it for free. Whatever. But when I took that bag and I was packing up my computer, the coffee that I bought from McDonald's was sitting right there, knocked it over. It was everywhere. And as I looked up from the spilled coffee, there was about 3 cops surrounding me and my daughter. And they asked me if I'm Brenda Cameron, and I said, yes, I am. So Mississippi police was actually very nice to me and my daughter. We were sitting in a room, even though no, they did not leave me handcuffed. They let me and my daughter have about maybe an hour and a half in this room and brought us snacks and stuff. And meanwhile, they're trying to get a hold of my son, saying, what's going on? This is are you approved to take these kids? But of course, Florida thinks they own my kids, and I really don't know what happened to my daughter after that, to tell you the truth, because I've been told they didn't, she never went back to that place in Punta, Florida. And like I said, I was told by somebody from the Partnership for Strong Families, her name's Sonetta Robinson. She said that my kids were adopted up to strangers in 2020.
Right.
So, and I don't know if that's for true or not, because I kind of have a feeling that my kids are not together, because by having the discoveries to this case, it was very strange, because I'm getting a lot of information. Oh, there's something omitted from the DC County where my children were taken. They had some reports there that I never seen before. And this report from a neuropsychologist that saw my daughter, she was in Fort Myers. This evaluation that states my daughter needs to be in contact with me for her social, behavioral, and emotional well-being, and that this information needed to get to the judge ASAP. Okay, and I can't tell you enough that if you want to have a copy of this, that's what else I posted, because I cannot believe this. This was omitted. This name wasn't even. This was a month and a half before our TPR trial. Okay, and this was an evaluation that was done that was not spoke about. I had all the paperwork I was told from everything. I did not have these two different evaluations. One was about my son, and the other one was about my daughter. And to think that my rights were terminated, they're keeping me away from my daughter when the neuropsychologist is saying this is exactly what your daughter needs, and the judge needs to know this. So I'm sitting in jail in Sully County. This is they took me to prison or whatever.
Yeah, hold on. Let's go back. So they arrested you, right? Your daughter gets taken away. What are you charged with? What do they charge you?
I'm charged with kidnapping, interfering with custody, and crossing state lines. So that's what I was wondering is like, did I have enough points for this? Because I barely, it was like a point away from having enough points to go to prison. And that to me was strange because there was a charge there that I didn't even recognize because I didn't have any charges before that. The only charge that I have ever had in my life was when the same day my children were taken on April 4th, 2016, when they arrested me over a decriminalized amount of marijuana. And they framed my husband. So
did you couldn't make, there's no bail, there's none of that stuff, right? They took you, they arrested you, there's no bail.
Oh, well, the bail was such an amount that it wouldn't even, nobody could ever have that amount that they were asking for.
What would they ask for your bail?
I can't remember what it is now, sorry. But yeah, I'll figure what that was. But yeah, it was just like, cause I was trying to get a hold of the family. I'm saying, put the house up, put the cars up, whatever you guys gotta do. I thought I would be able to get bailed out because I was like, yeah, but I was like losing my mind thinking I'm going to freaking prison for this. I thought I would go tell these people what exactly happened and the criminals that did all that put my daughter in that abusive situation. I thought those were the ones that would be arrested for me. It was like,
Hey, Brenda, lost you.
Yeah, you're garbling up.
All right. Well, I need somebody to take over because I need to take a drink of water here.
Yeah. So there we're at that. I don't know where Herbert went. But this is crazy, right? So now she's arrested, right? Melissa, you know the story, right? So
yeah.
she's been arrested. And then what? Now she's held in Mississippi?
Yeah. So I ended up having to spend as I looked at the discoveries though, they ended up saying that children in Mississippi, it was I think it was Jacksonville. I can't remember what the name of it was, but they said that
I can't hear you at all, Brenda.
Maybe it's because of the state thing. Sorry. Here, I'm gonna plug this in again. Yeah. Well, the thing is that even though I told her about this, I'm saying, please don't send her back to Florida. Florida is harming my child. I have no idea what happened after that. Still, I have no idea. But Florida felt that they had rights to my child, and I did not.
Wow.
Yeah.
Herbert, what do you say about all this? You believe that the parent should be kidnapped for her going to get her kid from a deplorable situation? What would you as a cop done?
Well, I didn't hear the whole story because it was choppy, and I was trying to get a connection with Tiffany. But from what I did hear of it, it doesn't sound right. Something doesn't sound right.
Well, yeah, the fact that CPS steals our kids, and then they think once they get them that they're theirs. That's the part
exactly.
that doesn't sound right.
No, it doesn't sound right.
Well, the problem is her rights were already terminated.
Right.
So the owner of the children is the state.
Right. So, but we all know.
By the way, you're gonna have Tiffany. You're gonna have Tiffany coming in any second.
Well, the problem is was that this is a mom that's seeing her kids in nasty conditions, that not only does she her kid, but her kid needs medical assistance. And this is a mom that's like, wow, this isn't happening. And she's going to handle this situation. I know by legal rights and everything, that's that. But when is the parent able to just turn off being a parent? That's the question. They can't. That's not real.
Well, right. No, the parent never quits being the parent. But as far as the state's concerned, a parent quits being the parent at the time that they say you have no more rights. Actually, down here, because the states that she was running through all use the same, U.S. districts. So it's a lot of the same laws between Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia. And here they have some laws that argue even after a kid has been in foster care for 1 year, that the bond with the foster parent is stronger and more important than the bond with the parent. So they've really worked hard to make it so that after a year, there is no bond.
Yep. Tiffany, what do you do? You're an advocate, so welcome tonight, Tiffany. What do you say to people that are in this situation where they say that there's no bond between the child and parent?
They're destroying the family unit. They're destroying the family bond. They're not focused on the best of the child law and the family unit as a whole, as parental rights and children rights that's afforded to us in the U.S. Constitution. So they're breaking that bond because they're human trafficking people, children, for money from the government under Title IV emergency assistance. So what needs to happen is if there's a real case of abuse and neglect, then the police need to do the investigation, not CPS. They're not trained. They're social workers. They're not trained like law enforcement is trained. So that's the first thing. The second thing, they need to make sure that they have body cameras on when encountering CPS or the police. They fall under the 4th and 5th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution under the color of law. Okay? So that
our states do not have body camera, and Florida only is just now passing a body camera law.
Yeah, they didn't, and that was the thing. That was the whole thing about that arrest. And I want to say as well is, and it all depends. Like, it's good what she's saying, but it depends if that law enforcement happens to be corrupt or not. Because in our case, it was corrupt, and I don't know what else.
Oh yeah, South Florida is one of the most corrupt areas, and they will make up charges out of thin air. And just like one of the laws they have, it's failure to protect minor from obscenity. Okay, this is a charge that can get you put on the sex offender list. It says anyone who unknowingly allows a minor, meaning anyone less than the age of 18, to access material containing obscenity, written, spoken, text, video, anything. So if your 17-year-old goes over to his buddy's house and steals one of his buddy's daddy's magazine, his buddy's daddy can now be charged with that crime, which is a sex offense.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. It needs to happen because it's all corruption, Melissa. It's all corruption. This is a systematic corruption system of government.
Well, Tiffany, I don't know if you know, but I've been working as an advocate for a long time too. I've been fighting the systems for myself and families since 2009.
Oh, that's good. I've been fighting since 1999.
Wow.
Yeah, well, you're also a little bit older than me too.
I am.
In 99, I was trying to graduate out of high school.
Well, I look young for my age. I'll be next month. My birthday is on May 14th. I'll be 49 years old.
49.
Yeah, see, I just turned 41, so
she's just a baby. No.
So
No.
yeah, but yeah. So what needs to happen when things are corrupt? It lets you know this in the Bible. When the foundation has been crooked, police officers and state officials, they were slave catchers. Their foundation was corrupt. So the
Mhm.
beginning of their foundation is corrupt. So that means it needs to be abolished and redone again to affect change. So it's all corruption, it's all fraud, it's all violation of parental rights, violation of constitutional rights, violation of the rights to due process of law. It's all fraud. It's all wrong, right? And it's against the Constitution that was afforded to us under the U.S. Constitution.
Right,
What
but
can we
the
do?
Constitution was not built based on an administrative law system, and until administrative law is put into its proper authority of being less than the courts where your Constitution means something, people are just going to keep getting handed their ass in a corrupt situation.
Right. It goes high up in government because the government. Okay, in the ninth. Let me get my portfolio. Hold on a minute. Let me get. Hold on. I'm gonna go away from the camera. I gotta grab the portfolio. Hold on a minute.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I mean, the court, this whole thing just
That was
sucks.
ruled in the court of law um, about the government and what's going on, so you guys can understand why it's so much corruption. So
Yeah,
I have,
just it doesn't matter what you're going to say to me or anybody. These kids are always going to be our kids. It doesn't matter what like. This is my kid.
Yeah,
I'm her
right.
dad. You're her mom.
And that's
I'm
the
not
thing that,
kid's dad.
if they really want to confuse the children, especially if they're dealing with like autism or something like this, where my
Yeah.
daughter would come to me and ask me, Mom, are you still my mom? Because
Right.
they're confusing the children. They don't know who their father or mother is anymore.
Right. And who knows what they're being told by these caseworkers?
Exactly.
We don't know what our kids are being told when they're away from us, because either they're too young to talk or they're being told not to say anything. So,
Exactly.
I mean, this
They really
the abuse and
control
neglect
what
is coming
people
on the side of
say.
the state and the government.
Well, last time I went to court, they openly testified to the fact that since going in the system, my son, he's 5, that he has to have anger management.
Oh boy.
And they
Right, 'cause
openly
he's
admit he
operating
didn't
that
have that
system
problem
wrong.
before he left.
Right.
okay, well, I wanted to state some case
Yeah.
law that's been ruled on in the court of law dealing with governments. Okay, so first, in the United States Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit said it best. The government interest in the welfare of children embraces not only protecting children from physical abuse, but also protecting children's interest in the privacy and dignity of their own homes and the lawful exercise authority of their parents. Calabretta versus Floyd, 189, 3D 808, 1999, Ninth Circuit Court. Then it was also ruled on in the Smith versus Ohio case that permanent termination of parental rights have been described as the family law equivalent of the death penalty in criminal cases. Therefore, parents must be afforded every procedure and sustainable protection that the law allows. Smith versus Smith, 1991, 77, Ohio.
Well, hold on one second. Hold on. Don't mean to interrupt you, Tiffany. If that's being said, how many appeals do you get when you're on the death penalty? How many times do you get to appeal the death penalty?
It's an endless.
It really is like a death penalty because the parents would rather be dead than have to go
They
through
take
this.
your kids from you and they say that you can't be the parents anymore. That's a death penalty. But these people sit on death row for years and years and years, going through 2, 3, 4, 5 appeals before they'll put them to death. Why are they so quick at one appeal to take your child? If you are even lucky enough to get that appeal, they take your child immediately, adopt it, done, game over.
Now, also, I wanted to read what this is about. So let me pull this up on my phone. This is another case law. I just pulled it up. It says the Constitution is the supreme law of the land, ordained and established by the people. All legislations must conform to the principles it lays down. United States versus Butler, 297 U.S. 56C2321. Anyway, 1935. So, in the United States, like I was saying before when I was on, the United States has been the only country in the whole world that have not ratified the legalization of protecting children and parental rights. That is the problem. The problem lies in the law. They're making up laws as they go along, and they're violating our constitutional rights, but also they're taking our children and taking them for money from the government. So they're human trafficking our children to get money from the government. So
no one's doing anything about it. They're turning their heads.
Huh? What'd you say?
Said they're turning their heads. Unless this happens to you, you don't come and support this. You know what? I was one of them. If you would have told me before that your family was involved with CPS, I would have turned away and I would have walked right away before you could finish your sentence. My bad. What an asshole I was.
That's what their goal is, to make you look like that person. And when they do all this to you, they're going to figure there's nobody that's going to back these people up. There's nobody up. They figure they're going to throw us in jail anytime they feel like it for whatever reason. You know, are you saying too much about what this trafficking is going on? And then they're locking up my husband. Or are they hoping that he commits suicide like all these people, our parents, have to end up doing because of the torture we've been through?
Mm-hmm. It's just something's got to change, because what we're doing isn't working. We all know the laws. We have all mastered these laws. We have found, for God's sakes, we know that statutes aren't even made for us. So these rules that they're applying on us aren't made for us. That's made for the government. That's not even, so the statutes, when they're telling us, oh, this, and this, or the urine screens, or any of that stuff, that's for the government employees to keep them in check. But they're passing it on to us. We know, we're all educated in this stuff. Why is nobody doing anything about it? Doesn't matter how much pressure, doesn't matter how much you do, doesn't matter how much you talk. We could smoke these freaking people in a law room. Any one of us that are parents, we put us in a law room with these people, we will smoke them, bury their asses with the Constitution up and down.
Right.
The judges don't care. The courtrooms don't care. They're not following the laws. Nobody's listening to us. So what do we do next?
So
I'm playing in a court that's so asinine that honestly I could smoke the attorneys that I'm against, but it falls on deaf ears.
And that's because that everybody is in cahoots with corruption. They're all conspiring. The judges,
well, I'm actually doing a 1985 suit.
Law enforcement, the CPS workers, they all in cahoots. I sued them in my lawsuit when I won.
Right.
We're in the U.S. We're heading to the U.S. District Court next week. We should be filing. We're doing a 1983 and we're doing a 1985.
Right. I filed in federal court, and I filed in other courts too. The appeals, the Supreme Court. I filed 6 courts. That took almost 6 years. Okay. So this stuff is so hacked up, and it's so corrupt, and it goes high up in government. That's why people are turning a deaf ear to it, because they in cahoots with it. You know.
That's just it. That, you know what? You're absolutely right, Tiffany. It's if they're protected from the top, then there's nothing any of us are going to be able to do about it. So here lies the rub. What do we do?
We set up. We first together. It's so many groups out there. This has happened nationwide. This is not just. This is a global. This is a global cry. This is a global epidemic problem. Systematic with the system. No matter what state you're in, no matter what country you're in, they are killing and raping and abusing our children and taking our children from us, treating them like they're not even children, like they're animals, like they're slaves, and they're not. They're human beings. They're babies. They're angels to God. You can't hurt a child, but God is going to get them. But I say,
of course He is. Yeah,
all these groups that we have need to come together to do a united front. United we stand, divided we fall. The Bible says, how can two walk together? So we agree. We need the power of agreement to affect change. So that's what happened in the civil rights movements and all these other movements that happened that affected change. People came together. It's power and unity. And they put their hearts and minds together, and they did protesting. They affected change, okay? So that needs to happen. We need all these groups that stay out there. I'm a part of so many different groups on Facebook, so many different agencies. We all need to come together to overthrow this corrupt system of governments and judicial system of people that's in power. Because the Bible lets us know in Ephesians 6:10, that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but principalities, rules, and darkness of this evil world we live in. So we need to make sure that we are coming together with the power of agreement, with one accordness, with like-mindedness, and overthrow this government system of this wicked entity. But go ahead.
Right. Well, you know what, guys? We're running way late. I'm sorry for that we got you on late, Tiffany. But let's get our last words out here, guys. And Carrie, who is this lawyer that you're talking about? She said, I think you should watch that lawyer for real. He is getting shit done and suing workers and winning. If you want to let us know who that is, Carrie, that would be great. Definitely want to see that. Brenda, you get up first. Last words?
Yeah, and I like what Tiffany's saying. And the thing is I think, we do have to come together and unite. And what needs to happen is we let God lead our way in our direction. And it's all for God's children is what it's for. And what needs to be done. And I know there is something coming up in June. I don't know if this is something that we should join in on, because you notice when there's protests or demonstrations, when it deals with anything but children, that the news is all over it. We've got to get the news all over this. And apparently, this thing through Barbara Stone and I can't remember the other girl's name. These people that are saying that things are the shit's hitting the fan and stuff like that. What they're saying is that I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. But there is something happening in Washington in June, and I didn't know if we can use that opportunity to expand on it or something.
Yeah, I mean, when we get more information on it, we definitely will. If you want to if you want to take the task of finding out what's going on with them, then more than willing to.
That was that Christoph Griffin or whatever his name. He was on about a week ago or so. It's something that he's putting on his Facebook. So I'll send y'all the link to that as well.
Oh no! In June, he's going to Washington for lunch at the White House.
I'm waiting on the president's office to call me back now. I'm going down to the Washington, D.C. But I said, find out the information for us if we can see and better plan to be there if we need to be there in person to protest, okay?
Yeah, because we got to do this, because last time, I remember a couple years back, they were doing, in D.C., this group out of Florida went, Pam Solomon. She's a very good woman that's she took posters of my kids and was down there with them. I mean, she's a great person, and there's a lot of people that I know that want to get down there and get out there and say, hey, this is my story, and I want my kids back,
Right.
Yeah,
so let's go ahead and do networking and, make sure we keep it in contact with one another.
And the first and foremost thing is getting them to this show. We need to get people to this show so that people can learn the truth about this stuff, because we don't need. There's no secret, behind the walls causes here or any of that. Like some people might want to think that there is. This is straightforward, just truth. This is it. This is how the system is. Yeah. We're going to talk about it. We're not holding back in what we're talking about. There's no agenda. There's no anything of the sorts. Like, this is the real truth. We just want our freaking kids back. This government needs to stop doing what they're doing. And we need to point the people in the direction that they need to be pointed in so that we can do such a thing. I mean, that's the bottom line. Melissa, last words for you?
Just everyone needs to keep up the fight and stand together, stand strong.
Yep, something's got to give, right?
Sooner than later.
All right. Tiffany, last words from you?
Yes, the Constitution says, united we stand, divided we fall. In unity, if we come together, we would affect change, and we would overthrow this system, this corrupt system of governments, in the courts, in the CPS courts, in the state, in the county, in the United States government, and CPS. We will overthrow them. because it's power and unity. So I'll say power to
Right.
the people and keep the fight and keep fighting and endure to the end.
That's right. Stay with us. That's great. Herbert, where are you, buddy? We got to get Herbert in here. I don't. He's been in and out here. He must be busy tonight. Herbert. Hey, Melissa. There we go. Oh. There we go. There's Herbert. There we
Hear
go.
me?
There we are, Herbert. We got you.
Herbert is here.
Herbert is here.
Okay. Okay. I would like to know if Brenda and Tiffany could come on again tomorrow evening.
It's tomorrow, Thursday, right? Oh,
Thursday. That's
tomorrow's County night.
Tomorrow's Connie Friday.
County Friday tomorrow.
wait a minute. I thought tomorrow.
Okay.
What is today?
Can at least be.
I don't even know what day
Today's
it is.
Thursday.
Yeah, it's County Friday tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow's Friday.
Whoa,
So-
I missed the whole day,
so if
y'all.
Brenda
I
can't-
missed the whole day.
What time? Usually
Okay.
I don't work on
Okay.
Sabbath
If
and Saturdays, so I'm a Sabbath keeper. So Fridays and Saturdays I usually don't
Yeah,
work.
if she's keeping the Sabbath, she can't
I'll
Friday
come on
night.
if y'all on Sunday, but I can't come on Friday and Saturdays.
Yeah, we're only weekdays, so
Okay.
Monday.
Okay.
It'll be, but I think it's into the
So
Sabbath.
then,
So the Sabbath start at 6 sundown.
so then maybe Monday. Maybe Monday. Brenda and Tiffany could come back with Canada.
Yeah, maybe we'll see. Yeah, let's take a look at what goes on over the weekend. We'll check out the schedule
That's
because I know we
fine.
have
What-
other things
I
coming
need-
up too. So.
I need somebody to email me the schedule because I'm very busy. So I need to know
Yes.
the schedule that we're going to be coming on doing these conversations and this,
Yep.
what's been going on. So if somebody email me the schedule of all the meetings and stuff like that, so I can better plan on my portfolio and my
Yes,
agenda.
ma'am.
Okay.
Maybe Melissa, can you do that?
Well, we don't have a set schedule. We're
Well,
on 5 nights a
basically,
week.
She wants to know what day she's going to be involved.
Well,
we
we don't always know that.
Right.
Yeah,
This is
like
people-
look at my hair,
people
guys.
pay,
My hair's a
won't
mess.
show
So
up.
don't told me I was going to be on here. So my hair's
Right.
a mess.
It's-
Thank you.
We fly by the seat of our pants some nights. We have people scheduled, they don't show up, and we get people to
Yeah.
fill. Like Melissa and I try to do it at the beginning of the week, and
I'm
I think
always
we've had
here in
one
the
time
page.
that
That's
the
what I
whole
say. If
schedule
you ever
was
need somebody, I'm always watching, regardless if I'm on. So I watch.
But
every time.
as we get a schedule going, I'll try to keep people notified at least 24 hours in advance.
Okay, but thank you.
All
That's
right.
what I need because I'm a very organized individual. I need to know ahead of
Oh
time.
man, I need you to come over to my house.
yes, yeah.
I have everything in
All
order.
right.
It's out of order. It drives me crazy. So I was a gifted program, so I need everything in order. So I need to make sure I put it in my calendar and have it on my agenda, so I won't make plans
Yeah.
to do something else during that time. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. We will
Thank
make
you,
sure of that.
Melissa. Thank you. What's your name,
All
young
right.
lady? I'm just not meeting you.
Me,
Brenda.
I'm Brenda. Brenda
thank you.
Cambron. Yep.
Thank you. Yeah, come on again.
All
See,
right,
that's,
all right, guys.
that's my TikTok thing that they have up on the thing. That's Mad Mom Cambron. That's my TikTok
All right,
name.
all right.
All
We'll
right.
check you out. All right, guys. Have a good night, guys.
All right, take care. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. That was another night. What a story. So, as much as you guys want to go and steal your kids back, and believe me, I want to do it too. That's a story of one parent. She did prison time. She did everything, even to go steal a kid back. They still got her, and she still comes out and she still fights for those kids, and she's still out here fighting for her husband. She's fighting for other people's families. Brenda's a freaking trooper, people. So, I'm not going to say what you got to do because you got to make your own choices in your own life. But you know what? At least take heed about that woman because she's amazing. Your choices. I'm the CPS for sure. I'm taking off. I got to make a schedule, I guess. So I'm going to take off. Have a good one, guys.